The last topic on our what we need to know list is temperature, and we need to know the three temperature scales and know how to convert between them. The three temperature scales that we're using are Celsius, which is metric, Kelvin, which is very similar to the Celsius, the unit, the degree size of a Celsius and the Kelvin are the same. Kelvin we tend to use more with gases, and as we get into later chapters in the semester, you'll be seeing Kelvin more often. And then Fahrenheit, that is the English unit for temperature. So when you hear about the temperature of the day here in the United States, it's always in Fahrenheit, but you go anywhere else in the world, you'll see it in Celsius. You cross over to Canada, it's in Celsius. You go to South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, it's Australia, it's always going to be in Celsius. All right, so what we need to be able to do is convert between one unit and another. Like I told you, the Kelvin and Celsius unit is the same amount. The degree is the same. It's just that in order to convert Celsius to Kelvin, you need to add 273. So if you have your degrees Celsius and you add 273, you end up with the Kelvin. Notice that Kelvin doesn't have a degree sign. Kelvin is an interesting one because you can't go negative Kelvin. You can go negative Celsius, negative Fahrenheit. You've heard of the temperature being, oh, it's -10 today, or -40 today, or the wind chill is -70 today. You can do that with Celsius and Fahrenheit, but Kelvin, no negative numbers. Kelvin scale, the lowest number in Kelvin is 0. 0 Kelvin is what we call absolute zero. Nothing, nothing lower than that. That's when pretty much matter stops. You know, matter is constantly vibrating, constantly moving, but at absolute zero, nothing. So nothing below that, right? So Kelvin will always be positive. Celsius can be positive or negative, and Fahrenheit is positive or negative. But if you know the temperature in Celsius, you can easily convert it to Kelvin. If you know the temperature in Kelvin, all you have to do is subtract 273 and you get the temperature in Celsius. It's actually 273.15 something something, so it depends on how many sig figs you have, but normally we just round it to 273. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius and boils at 100 degrees Celsius. So therefore, water freezes at 273 Kelvin and boils at 373 Kelvin. See, remember how I told you that the size of a degree is the same. You can see that it's just 100 degrees between freezing and boiling of water, 100 degrees between freezing and boiling of water in both scales. Now the Fahrenheit size of the degree is a little smaller because water will freeze at 32 degrees Fahrenheit and it will boil at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So the size of the degree is a little smaller. How do you convert? If you've got the degrees Celsius and you want to convert it to degrees Fahrenheit, this is what I usually will do. I'll take 1.8 multiplied by that degrees Celsius. So 1.8 is the same as 9/5. If you'd rather use fractions, use 9/5. I like to use 1.8. 1.8 times your degrees Celsius, press equals, and then add 32. And that will give you your degrees Fahrenheit. So you can practice with all of these plug and chug things. If, on the other hand, you have degrees Fahrenheit and you want to convert it to degrees Celsius, what do? You take your degrees Fahrenheit and you subtract 32. And then press equals. You got to press equals. So degrees Fahrenheit minus 32, press equals, and then divide it by 1.8, which is basically the same as multiplying by 5/9. And that will give you your degrees Celsius. All right. So you need to know this. And you need to know this. And you need to know the Celsius to Kelvin and Kelvin to Celsius. All right. All you have to do is just practice with these things. All right. So let's go ahead and just do one example so that you can feel comfortable doing it on your own. But honestly, the only way to get good at this is just practice. Let's see what the temperature is today. I'll look at my watch. It says it's 79 degrees Fahrenheit. So 79 degrees Fahrenheit. I want to convert it to degrees Celsius, and I also want to convert it to Kelvin. Now, you can't go from Fahrenheit to Kelvin directly. You've got to go from Fahrenheit to Celsius and then Celsius to Kelvin. So that's what we'll do. Okay? All right, let's set it up. We're given Fahrenheit, we want to go to Celsius. So which one of these are we going to use? We're going to use this one, Fahrenheit to Celsius. So the first thing you want to do is to take that 79 minus 32, all right? And that gives you 47. So 9 minus 2 is 7, 7 minus 3 is 47. And then remember how I said you could do that, press equals, and then you're going to divide it by 1.8. So let me get my calculator because that I can't do in my head. 47 divided by 1.8, and you end up with 26.111111. Let's just leave it at 26 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's the temperature right now in my kitchen today. Okay. How do I convert that to Kelvin? I take my 26 and add 273 to it, and you end up with 7 plus 2 is 9, 3 plus 299 Kelvin. 3 plus 6 is 9, 7 plus 2 is 9, 299 Kelvin. Okay, so that's just a quick use of these conversions, these formulas. You should be able to do that. All right, last thing I just wanted to mention really quickly. If on the homework you have conversions that I haven't talked about, you can always find the conversion factors in the book. Sometimes they'll ask you to convert pounds to kilograms or kilograms to pounds. You might want to write that in your notes. 1 kilogram is equal to 2.20 pounds. Metric English. One good metric one to know is 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. It's a prefix to prefix, so instead of going prefix to base unit to prefix, like centimeters to meters, and then meters to millimeters, if you just know this one, that's an easy one to know. And I already gave you 1 meter is 100 centimeters. And I will wrap up this video and we are all set. Okay.